Welcome to the Wholesome Healing Collective.
Join us on our podcast for a journey into the hearts of healers from all walks of life, diving deep as we explore meaningful conversations that have the power to inspire, empower, and share life-changing wisdom.
Through this community, we hope to create a welcoming environment where our listeners leave feeling nurtured and uplifted. We are so delighted you are here. My name is Alyssa.
And I'm Renee. Grab a drink, get cozy, and let's dive in. Hi, friends. Renee and Alyssa here again. We're back after a couple of crazy weeks with moving and all kinds of lifey stuff happening. So we thought we would share how things have been going, what we've been up to, and any golden nuggets of wisdom that we might have come across that we can share with you all.
Yeah, inadvertently we took August off essentially, and that was not planned, but sometimes you just kind of have to go with the flow.
Yeah, gosh, I can't believe it's September, honestly. It's like life is just speeding up. But lots of good things happening, and Alyssa's in her new space, and it's so cute.
Thank you. It's been really nice getting my office put together and have a space for in-person breathwork sessions and even a space for guests to stay when they come. So it's been really nice. Yeah, we moved almost a month ago. And so just getting settled in and feeling at home. It's been kind of an ungrounding move. Even though I tried to stay grounded the whole way, it was stressful, but not as bad as other moves I've had. So it's been nice.
What was one thing that really helped you stay in the body, stay grounded, stay sane through it all?
Yeah, so the pause breathwork cohort just started practicum about a month ago, and I was able to do breathwork through the packing process. I did a couple sessions before we moved, and then after we moved, like the day after we moved in here, I think I did a breathwork session, and then a longer breathwork session about a week later. And so I had breathwork to support me, as well as somebody holding space for me through that process. And I think that was really helpful. Taking that time, even though it was busy. And then we mixed in play throughout the process. So my daughter and I we went to the pool not long after we moved in. And we did that even before we moved. So it was like busy packing, but we're going to go play. And then we moved in, busy unpacking, but we're going to go play. So It was a nice mix.
Yeah, that's awesome and perfect work to be doing it as we're moving towards our retreat, with play being that one of the key components, and something that I know both of us have tried and continue to work into our daily routines to not forget how important play is.
Yes, that just came up in one of my card readings this week, that playfulness, that innocence. So it has been a theme. It's really
cool. I just yesterday actually received a letter in the mail that I had written to myself from a retreat that I was at back in February, I think. And it was kind of one of those things that they had you do as part of a workshop, and then the instructor would just mail it out at a random date in the future when she felt intuitively called to send it out, which I thought was really neat. And so I got that yesterday, and it was such perfect timing. It was really neat to hear the words of encouragement that I needed, and they were from me, past me. So that was really cool. And in it was a reminder from myself to embrace that play and the playfulness of the otter. I think I had pulled a card maybe that had an otter on it, and it was like the playfulness of an otter. So that reminder came up from me just yesterday.
I love that. And it's so crazy how we both had that come back around, because I pulled those cards yesterday too. So wow.
Wow, that is crazy. That's so
Mm.
cool. Yeah, just a couple weekends ago, I had the opportunity to escape to the coast for a weekend, and it was a little casual retreat with four other pause alumni. And we just kind of did a little retreat with each other. We pretty much just hung out in an Airbnb and uh, shared space together. And one person is in practicum right now. So she did a group breathwork session, and it was magical. And we got to go spend time in nature. And it was really neat because, well, two things I got out of it. Keeping on the topic of play, I've been working on incorporating play more, even with my coach. That's been something where I've been trying to create a list of things that feel playful for me, which may sound silly for others that are more tuned into their playfulness, but it was actually really hard for me to articulate and actually think of things that felt playful in my system. And one of the things was climbing a tree, because that's something that I enjoyed doing when I was a kid. And so I was on this hike with friends over on the coast, and I saw this tree and I was like, I'm going to climb that tree. And I did. And it was so fun. It was so playful. And it just made me realize that it doesn't have to be like this big thing. It can literally just be taking 10 minutes to climb a tree, and that can be playful and fun. So that was cool. I was gonna say, I'm curious for our listeners what they do for play. Like, give us some ideas and post in the comments what you do for play. That would be fun.
Yes. Yeah. And it can look like, any number of things. It can just be throughout your day, or it can be these things that you take your time out to actually go and do. I was on the teeter totter with my daughter last week, and my sister snapped a picture, and I actually look like I'm having fun. But I was really just doing like assisted squats because I weigh so much more than her. So I was like really
Right.
raising it up. But it was a funny moment. Yeah. And it was nice to have it captured, because it just like reminds you of, obviously pictures remind you of what happened.
Yeah, yeah. It brings you back to that moment and that feeling. And yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That retreat though, that sounds amazing. I wish I could have made it.
Next time
Just
for sure. We talked about making it an annual thing because it was
mm,
so nice. It was just really nice to kind of have the retreat setting, but there was no pressure on anyone. Not that the retreat, there's necessarily pressure, but no one felt like they needed to be the one leading it or
mhm,
facilitating or orchestrating, coordinating any of that. It was just kind of this loose structure of, okay, on this day, we're going to go for a hike at some point when we feel like it. And then on this day, we're going to do breath work at some point when we feel like it. And then we kind of had assigned meals. So each person was responsible for one meal.
mhm,
And then other than that, it was just spending time together and talking and hanging out. There was this beautiful outdoor area. It was kind of tucked away in the woods, and um, it was really beautiful. And one thing that I've been kind of peeling back the layers of, and especially I felt these layers coming up when I went to the advanced breathwork facilitator training. I guess it was like a month ago now. Um, was this shedding away these layers of feeling like an outsider, or having doubt of not belonging, and these feelings that have kind of been innately in me my whole life. And I really felt that come up in that training. And I had this beautiful releasing of those stories and those limiting beliefs that were in my body. And I think were here from my whole life. And so when I went to this retreat, and granted, it was much smaller, more intimate setting, so that's a little more comfortable for me, anyways. But I just had this feeling the whole time of belonging. And I really felt that old part of me was shed away. And I was really there in this new version of me that was really comfortable with myself and really comfortable being with these people who I'd only met one of them in person. The others I had very little interaction with online previously. So it really was a whole new group of people. And it was like meeting up with friends that we'd always been friends.
Mm.
And it really made me think of this advice that a mentor had given me a long time ago. She had told me, don't think of strangers as strangers. Think of them as friends that you haven't met yet.
Mm.
And that's always stuck with me. And now I feel like I can actually start embodying that. And when I meet people, actually think of them as friends that my soul has known and we just haven't met in this life yet. So that was really cool.
I love that. I want to add, Brene Brown talks about belonging as a way of like belonging to yourself. And so that wherever you go, you belong there because you belong to yourself, and finding that safety in the system.
Yes, I'm
And
glad
like, you don't have to, yeah, you don't even have to fit in. It's about just belonging to yourself. And then curious if those feelings you felt were even yours at that retreat. You know, you could have been taking on other people's feelings, and you might have already dealt with yours, but now you're feeling somebody else's feelings of not belonging.
Totally. Yeah. I probably was picking up on that because, there's 50 people there participating. So there was definitely a lot of feelings that were coming up, and being so empathetic, it is hard sometimes to differentiate. And I definitely I took a lot of time in between to like go ground by myself and reorient into my energy before I went back into the group, which I think really helped. Um, but yeah, I'm glad you named that because I do feel like that was a bit of a turning point for me, is that belonging to myself and realizing that I don't need to belong with others because I am belonging. And
Hmm.
others can belong with me as much as I belong with them. And that felt really serendipitous, especially as we're going into hosting a retreat and feeling like I want to create this environment where people feel like they belong, even if they don't know anyone that they're coming into the circle with. They can come and feel like they're meeting people that are friends they just haven't met yet and belonging in this group. That's what I want to put out into the energy field for our retreat, is that feeling of belonging.
Yeah, that feeling of safety, and like you can be whoever you truly are, and you're welcome here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
them coming into that belonging in themselves. Yeah. Coming out
Wow.
to the belonging.
Hmm.
So,
I felt like there was something else here. Maybe not. Yeah. So level 2 training. How was that experience overall? Did you feel like you learned some really cool techniques to bring to our retreat?
yes, it was amazing. It was probably definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite training that I've done. It was magical to be in person. The facilitators were amazing. Sam brought in a couple of powerhouse energy workers that just blew my freaking mind. Um, and it was really cool because, true to, pause style, it was more about embodying the practices yourself than it was about learning how to facilitate them. Because as you embody them and do them yourself, you are learning how to facilitate them. And a lot of the learning with yourself was in dyad work. So we were working with different partners and learning different doorways into feeling energy, and how we all have a doorway in that's easier. You know, some of us are more perceptual visually, and we're going to see things and we're going to extract information from the energy through visuals. And other people will hear things, or they'll touch something and they'll get information from the physical touch, or they'll smell something. So each one of us has something that's unique to us or comes more easily, but we got to go through different exercises to experience all of them. And it was neat to see how some of them, that like touch, for instance, isn't one that I've ever really gotten information from. I'm more of a visual and a feeling type of person. But in the setting of getting truly embodied and doing this work with another, it was neat to get information through the ways that you don't normally get information.
Mm-hmm.
So the different dyad practices was really cool, and something that I want to incorporate into the retreats. Dyad work is always a little bit out of people's comfort zones. So it'll be interesting to experiment with how to titrate into those experiences, or, maybe it's like something that grows on it. So something that, you kind of pepper in one retreat and then you do more of it in another. So we'll see. But there was also beyond that, different embodiment exercises to incorporate into breath work that I thought was really neat for kind of doing bookends. So ways to stimulate energy before going into breath, if that is something that is needed. If someone comes in and they're very, very like in the distorted earth energy of just feeling lethargic and heavy and like stagnant, where maybe they need to move some energy before breathing. There were movement practices to get in the body that way. And then there was also, on the flip side, movement practices to ground if we're really like in the buzziness of the mind and we're just all over the place and not really ready to drop into the breath and get into the body. Using practices of movement and breath before getting into the stillness of breath was really powerful. So I'm really excited to incorporate the movement pieces with the breath, and then the stillness and the power of the breath too. It was kind of the perfect complement, where I feel really equipped to now work with whatever is presenting with the energy, instead of just kind of having this is the plan and we play with the breath patterns to address the different energy levels. But now there's the breath patterns and movement exercises to incorporate as well. So yeah, I feel really excited to share.
Yeah, that's so cool. Juicy training. I love that.
Yeah, it was super well done. Props to Pause on the execution of that training, for sure.
Yeah, they definitely pride themselves in being world-class service. World-class service, is that just what they
World-class experience, I think.
Yes.
Which includes world-class service. So. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. Ooh, I did something that was a little random, I guess. So I've been recently into Dolores Cannon and her quantum healing hypnosis techniques, and listening along to a couple audiobooks, the Search for the Hidden Sacred Knowledge, and then now listening to the 3 Waves of Volunteers. And these books are so fascinating. They're her retelling her clients' hypnosis, which is basically past life regression sessions. And it's just so fascinating what comes through in these sessions. And I was able to find somebody that is going there. She's an intern. So that means she just did the training and now she has to do 25 sessions in order to become like level 1. And she lives in the new area that I moved to. So I booked a session and I had one of these past life regression sessions. And it was, again, so fascinating. I popped up in a lifetime where I was like working with crystals and this just ancient technology. And it was just so interesting that it just, the way the information comes through, it's like you're just seeing it or feeling it or knowing it. And it was just so random. Yeah.
Mm. Were there any key insights that were maybe what you took away as the reason why that lifetime showed up for you in the session?
Yeah, I definitely think it's because of the crystals that I maybe should be focusing on crystals right now. Always been fascinated with crystals. I really think that's where my spiritual journey started. And so it's just a nice reminder that maybe I need to put my focus back there. And a month ago or so, 2 months ago, maybe, so it was before I moved, I was working on a crystal Reiki training from the place I did my Reiki training from. She does crystal Reiki. And
Ooh.
so trying to add that in. And so I was already looking into it and then got this past life regression that I should be working more with crystals. So I just thought it was really funny. Yeah, there's so much wisdom and healing in the crystals and it's just exciting.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Really intrigued by that training. I want to experience a session like that.
Yeah, and it was really trippy because my left brain would keep coming in and being like, am I making this up? Like, where is this information coming from? Am I just saying what I want to hear? But then so you do the past life regression and then she calls in what they call the SC, and in the book she explains that it's what she thought was the subconscious, but it turns out it's actually more than the subconscious. It's almost like a super conscious or your spiritual team, or like just all that is like that information that's coming through. And so when she invited that part to come through, I was talking about myself in third person. Was that when I say like she and stuff? So I was just doing that naturally. And she said, that's how you know that it wasn't you. It was your super conscious or your spiritual team coming through and channeling through you. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, yeah, it was trippy.
And so when that's happening, is it challenging to speak what's coming through without analyzing, like, where is this coming from? Or is
Yeah,
it kind of like it's just flowing and you're just the witnesser of it flowing through?
I kept like making sure I was in the witness spot. So like I kept making sure I was like, I visualized myself sitting in the corner, and so that I was just that pure channel and disconnected from like my mind and my identity. So yeah, definitely just trying to witness.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. And the way my body felt when I was in trance. So they put you in, I think it's theta brainwaves. So it's such a deep trance that I felt like my body was just like floating, like almost my brain was disconnected from my body. It was so weird. I just felt like sunken into the bed almost.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird. And then
Neat.
she said that most people who are awakened on their spiritual journey will remember the entire session. Where in the past, when Dolores had first started, a lot of people, they were just like completely unaware of the session and they had to listen to the recording or read the transcript to get that information. But I remember the entire thing.
That's so interesting. So I wonder if that's in a way like a protection mechanism for
Mm.
people who aren't maybe there's a part of their mind that doesn't feel like they're ready for that information, so they don't stay aware of it. That's so
Yeah,
interesting.
there definitely is a part that is protecting you because it'll only share what you're ready to learn. But that's even just in your session, just in general. So that part's interesting, that it does protect you from information you're not ready to hear or learn or integrate.
Yeah.
Just kind of like the body does when we're working with the body in our coaching sessions and in breath work. Only what you're ready to see and feel will come through. So that innate wisdom is just so powerful.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Excited about that modality and feeling really intrigued too. So we'll see if I go through that training after the retreat and add that on. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a powerful addition to your tool belt.
Yeah. And I could see how, like, I'm pretty aware of what's happening already and I know how to use that information, but I could see that people wouldn't know how to integrate that information or work through that information. And so coaching and breathwork could be really powerful in integrating and embodying. And a lot of people will receive messages that are like life altering, like, this is your sole purpose. Now, what do you do with that? You need to find that safety
Yeah,
in your system in order to embody that and then integrate that. And you're just
absolutely.
kind of left high and dry after receiving that information. So I think it could be really cool to work it into my packages.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I definitely have had sessions not of that same modality, but in other, I don't know, flavors of like NPL sessions and things like that, where you do get crazy information. Or I've had an experience where I had an energy like really lift away from my body, and it was amazing. And if I wasn't trained in how to integrate, I could see how a lot of people would just kind of be left in the dark, like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
What do I do with this information or this newfound feeling? Or how do I keep the newfound feeling? If you found a feeling or you released something that was ready to release, now how do you fill that void with what you want to fill it with, and not let the old shit come back in?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
Yeah,
lot of like layers to this work. And if you really want to dive deep, it's like a continual process.
it really is.
And then something else that SC, that super conscious, does, or your spiritual team, they'll repair your body and any like diseases you have, or illnesses or pains. They'll repair it for you. And so I let her know about my stomach, how I've been trying gluten-free, dairy-free, to just like find what's happy in my intestines. And they repaired my intestines, and mine have been pretty happy this whole couple weeks, or however long it's been since I did it. I even ate white processed bun that I should not eat, but I didn't get upset, so that was nice.
Wow.
But I did get the information that I should only eat like the good grains and not just go for the white buns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to fix you, but don't mess it up.
And some of the pains you experience might not even be from this life. They could be from past lives. And so that's really fascinating to learn. And then usually they'll heal that pain so you don't have to worry about it in this life. So yeah, just such an interesting modality.
Wow. I'm so intrigued.
Yeah.
I will definitely be one of your practicum clients if you go through the program.
You'll have to fly out to Montana because it's supposed to be in person.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because they
All the
put
more
you in
reason
such
I can come visit.
yeah, and you can stay here.
Yay.
Because you're put in such a deep state of trance that if we were online and then something happened to you in that deep state of trance, I would be like far away. I couldn't help you.
Right. Yeah.
And people feel emotions and can be like in an emotional distress. And I think if you listen to the audiobooks, she has suggestions on how to remove those emotions. So I think hypnosis is very interesting.
Wow.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
So those are all the things that happened in my life. And what about, one more thing. This is what it was. Mid podcast, I was gonna bring this up. Last weekend, right? You went hiking on Mount Shasta.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it was so good. It was beautiful.
Mm.
And especially because right now where I'm at, it's been really, really smoky with some fires that are nearby. And it's been close to like post-apocalyptic, so bad. Things are shutting down because the air quality is so bad. Today is better, but so it was extra beautiful because we got to escape the smoke and go be with the water. There was 2 different lakes, so you got to hike past this big lake and kind of go up above it, and then you keep hiking. And it was a little bit of a challenge because most of it is uphill on the way, but then you hike and hike, and then you get to hike to a smaller lake that you can't even see from the trailhead or from the ground, so it's up offset. So you like go around this ridge and then you come into this little alcove that has a lake. So it was really beautiful. And I just feel like Mount Shasta has such like nurturing Mama Gaia, let me hold you in this energy vibe. It was really great. I'm really excited to share with people.
Yeah, yes. And so that hike excursion is available for the VIP people on our retreat. So we're really looking forward to that special piece.
Yeah. Do a little meditation by the water and just ground and soak it all in. It's going to be magical.
Wow. So envious.
And this place that we are looking at, which I'm going to go down one more time before the retreat and scope out another one just to, make sure we're picking the best one. But it's one of what is said to be like the 7 sacred portals in the Shasta area. So it's one of those places. So it is said to be this sacred ground of energy, which of course we've got to go visit one of those places while we're there.
Yeah. Ooh. Good. Amazing.
So juicy.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us this week, hearing a little recap of August. We're so excited for the upcoming retreat and just all the things.
Yay. Can't wait to share space with those of you that come and join us in Shasta. It's going to be amazing.
Yes. And if you feel called, we'll link that webpage below, and feel free to reach out with any questions. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. See you again next week.